Hey there, welcome to C&T Collectibles. I am C, hope you're doing well. Welcome to 3 and Out, where we take a look at the top 3 risers and a punt from the last week in football cards. According to Card Ladder, these are their highest risers and a faller, and then we'll take a look at some players who did well on the actual gridiron and see what, if anything, we should be doing with their cards. So, got a lot of work to do. We'll just get right into it. We'll have Tommy in on one of these. Just this week is kind of crazy. Baseball, football, all that kind of good stuff. So for the fake stuff, we'll get them in here one of these days. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, do all that kind of good stuff. And let's go. Anthony Miller, 2018 Optic in the downtown variation, up at 111%. This is our number 3 riser for the week here. A couple of sales actually in this area, so people are looking for good things from Anthony Miller. Couldn't get it done in Chicago, so maybe he can get it done in Houston. He's coming back this week, and so maybe they're anticipating good things here. But I'm hoping that Danny Amendola keeps his thing going, because I need a receiver and I just picked him up here. So all right, number 2 riser for the week, Mike Evans, 2014 Topps Chrome. He didn't have a lot going on here. Antonio Bryant stole his thunder, but it didn't stop people from buying his card and shooting it up 164% to the top of the range. So anytime you've traveled outside of this range, it's been met with selling pretty quickly, and so we'll see if that repeats itself here. If we can get a few more sales in here, then it sets up a new range. And so ranges are meant to be broken, but you need to prove it just a little bit here. We've got one sale right here that just shot it right up, and usually those kind of numbers are for selling. Number 1 riser for the week, DeAndre Hopkins, 2013 Topps Chrome. Ball in the right hand. So there's a joke in there somewhere. Up about 203%. And it brings it up to, again, the top of the range. And so, again, anytime you see these kinds of moves there, usually for more selling. But, gosh, he's in a good spot here. Kyler looks pretty darn awesome. And, maybe we can keep it going here. This isn't a new high or anything like that. So this is an area where people are willing to pay before. So perhaps there's a small pullback. When it gets down to this area, it gets really thin and snapped up quickly. So I'm not saying, hey, all the way back down here. But if it comes back a little bit, then I think that would be normal. And so we'll look at our punt, and that is the 2020 Justin Herbert in the red ice. And this is down 59% here, so very thin volume, a lot of moves here. When it goes up, it goes down, and then when it goes down, it goes back up. And so usually these things are met with the equal and opposite reaction here. So whenever we've gotten down to this area, it has been more of a buying opportunity. So if you are so inclined, this could be an interesting variation. That is the raw. All right. Players of the week, we'll start with quarterbacks, do some running backs, finish up with wide receivers. Let's go. Kyler Murray, raw, 2019 Prism. I meant to do the PSA 10 on all these. So we're doing the Prisms, and maybe they just didn't have it. I don't know. We're going to do the Prisms on this one on the Friday show. We'll try and mix it up with optics and everything like that. But for now, we're just going to do the Prisms. Kyler Murray, meant to do PSA 10. I apologize, but these things kind of track each other a little bit. So I think we'll make do here. A lot of consolidation in this area here. So sitting around the top of the range, coming off just a little bit here. So there's plenty of buying, but I don't know that you're going to make a ton of money in this one either way until we get a breakout or a breakdown. So in the short term, the trend is down, but again, it is consolidating, going sideways. If it gets to the bottom range, you can see that's been snapped up fairly quickly. So this is kind of your price, and so it's at a kind of a fair value here. And if he does wind up with the top 3 season, then we could see this sneak out, and that would be more of a buy signal here. 2017 Prism, there's our PSA 10. Okay, fine. All right, the trend does remain sort of down here. We've gotten a nice bounce off of the lower end of support here. Now we're sitting up against a line of resistance, and so your risk reward is unfavorable for the time being. If it can sneak up into here, and then we get a few sales and hold, then we could start to maybe march towards that upper boundary here. And that would be again, there's plenty of people that have shown interest here in the past, so it's not unsustainable or anything like that. But for now, your risk reward does not set up terribly favorable in the short term here. And these are the stat lines from ESPN.com. So Kyler was your number 1. Your number 2 was Pat Mahomes with 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. And it looks like he ran one in as well. Jalen Hurts threw 3 touchdowns of his own and had 62 rushing yards. And so this is a player that we've looked at a few times here. We had our downward compression and a breakout up to a kind of our resistance zone here. And then we said, hey, look, another shot at this one here. Now he's ripping. Now he's at the top of the area where there's been selling in the past. And it's pretty thin volume here. So we'll see what kind of week he has. It might be more performance dependent going forward in season here, but risk reward not favorable. See if it can get a little bit of pullback, but I like him, and I think a lot of other people like him, and so it's one to keep your eye on. Jameis Winston, all right. He had himself a good week here, throwing for 5 touchdowns, rushed a little bit here, but 14 for 25 of those for touchdowns, so might be a little aggressive, thinking he can keep that pace up, but you can see he's traveled sideways for the most part here, backing off of resistance to the middle of the range and heading back up there again, so not much to do with it at the time being here. But New Orleans does have a way with quarterbacks, so we'll see how that plays out for Mr. Winston. Oh, here's another one here. I don't know why I had that twice. I know why I had it twice. I wanted to make fun of him, so there it is. Ruin the joke. All right, that's all good. That's all good. A couple of players who should be on, or maybe are on people's radars, didn't have a very good week, but probably, have better weeks ahead. So Matty Ice, 164 yards and nothing else. So a lot of sideways action here. There's enough accumulation in this area that people are comfortable with this price for now. But to really get excited about them, we want to see a break, kind of either get down closer to the bottom of the range or some sort of break up here. Right now, middle of the range, not a whole lot to do. And Big Ben Roethlisberger, 24 tops Chrome 2014. That would be worth even less than this one. So pretty high priced card. Had a pretty nice career, but sitting around the top of the range with some buying here, and he's going to put up some numbers. He's going to have some crazy games at some point here, so could rocket it up, and that may be for selling right here. But I don't know if you do anything in terms of buying at the moment. And we'll wrap it up the quarterback portion, at least with Baker Mayfield, who threw for 321 yards, 21 for 28. But none of the counting stats, no touchdowns or anything like that. So look at otherwise. But anyways, you have your you kind of have your $400 area consolidation zone. Got a little bit of a spike before the season, but we're sitting in that zone here, and it might have to grind just sideways a little bit until we hit this longer term trend line, and then maybe you can get some lift off. And he's going to have to help it out by having some pretty amazing games as well this season. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, not a lot to do with that one. Like it above 400, but below 400, it's kind of a and not much is going to go on there, probably. So, all right, running back started off with Joe Mixon, who carried for 127 yards and a touchdown here. So he's sitting at the bottom of his range. This is very lightly traded stuff here. Not a lot of action on it. A lot of purchase in this area, so it might just be the price. If it breaks down, you can see further downside action. But your risk reward does set up favorably at this time. But again, it's so thin that one sale could bring it up here. One sale could knock it down to $50 or something like that. So not the most expensive PSA 10 by any means here, but he did have a good week and is one of the more highly regarded running backs. Nick Chubb, also one of the highly regarded running backs, 83 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Had himself a good week here. This is what people are looking for out of him, and a lot of buying again in this area here. Towards the top of the range, may have to come back down just a little bit if he has a week next week where it's not quite as good as this week, not the second highest scoring running back or anything like that. Then you could see this drop a little bit here. But again, if you're patient, you could see a break one way or another, and that might be your longer term entry point. Christian McCaffrey with 98 yards rushing and a lot of yards receiving. That's what he does. So. Bottom of the range, we liked it down here, and he's starting to travel up, getting a lot of interest here. So we had 3 purchases in this area recently, maybe more. So we're contending with longer term range, kind of near the bottom of that. Risk reward does set up favorably. Been saying that for a little while, hasn't really worked out yet, but one of these days perhaps it will. So we've got this little downtrend line in the near term here. So if we can break that, then we'll be more excited about some upside. And honestly, if you just want to kind of buy and hold and hope he stays healthy for the season, then this is a decent spot as any. Dalvin Cook, a player that did not have a very good week. We'll look at a couple of these too. You got to look for those guys and think ahead a little bit. Where's Dalvin going to finish for the season? Probably not one of the worst running backs in the year. So 60 yards, touchdown, and some receiving yards. So not the worst week by any stretch here, but not what people were maybe expecting off of 20 carries. So we had our uptrend line here. Thought this was a favorable spot to buy, and did get a bounce, but it got rejected at resistance and then dropped way down here. So this is an area where buying has been quickly stepped in. So below this consolidation area here. So looks like more of a one-off. We should see a nice pop-up. If you're able to get that price, great. You may not, and this might be more of your area, kind of in that, currently 137, so, I don't know, 150, 160 or something like that. All right. Jonathan Taylor, no information on card ladder, but we've got star stock. We can roll with that one too. Sitting at the bottom of his range, and the B's are just consolidating. The A's are at the bottom of the range. The B's are just kind of consolidating, and all it'll take is a monster game, which he's certainly capable of, and we can see if that price can start to spike up just a little bit, maybe up to $14 or something. So see how that goes. Looking at some wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, your number 1 receiver, and 197 yards and a touchdown. 25 points led the way. So top of the range coming back off again here. So again, like most things, we're just kind of consolidating here. So middle of the range, not much to do, but it is compressing. It is getting narrow. So if you buy in this area, it's not the worst thing in the world. And again, if you're in a consolidation that's a wide range, couple $100, a lot more variance right now. You're talking about tens of dollars, and so we'll see what happens here. But again, good, and that is bad. But right now, if you want to buy, then and just kind of hold and not look at it for a while, then this is a spot where there has been purchases in the past. Amari Cooper had 139 yards and a pair of touchdowns here, so his cards have lifted just a little bit. I don't know if this was before or after the game here, but we are sitting at an area of resistance. So if he has a stinker next week, he could come back down. If he has another really good game, then we could start to creep out of this one and go up. But again, so thinly traded, it's hard to say what happens one way or another. And it is about all these guys, but especially so for the guys with low volume. And Deebo Samuel, 189 yards and a touchdown. Like the number of targets here, looks great. So thin volume pushing it towards the top of the range where selling has taken place, and so if he's able to keep this pace up for the rest of the season, perhaps he leaks out and starts joining that elite tier of receivers. But for now, he's near the top of the range. Risk reward sets up unfavorably. Justin Jefferson, not a whole lot going on here. 71 yards, so 9 targets, so he had a decent amount of targets. The Vikings didn't have much going on against Cincy here, but he's sitting around the bottom of the range. Where this is the raw. None of the graded ones have started coming back yet. So you're talking about $6 basically. And for this player, what he could do this year, it wouldn't take much for that thing to double or more. And Robert Woods, who had 27 yards, a touchdown, just not a great week overall, but we sure know what he's capable of, and he's capable of an awesome smile. That's what I know. So ripping out of the zone here up to that $1.40 area, and I think if you're able to get it for $1.10 or something like that, that's where more buying has taken place. Maybe a better spot. We shall see. And that's what I got for you. So that's our first week. Well, it's kind of like the baseball version. We'll just do this and have some fun, see what we see, and try and get Tommy in on some of these. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching, and take care. Bye now.